Welcome to the Knit Song Podcast. My name is Audrey, and this is my podcast where I talk about all the knitting, crocheting, yarn dyeing, sewing, and crafting that I'm up to. Welcome. This is episode 33, and it is, I think it's March 19th or 18th, 2020. And I'm coming to you from Salt Lake City, Utah. So welcome. It's been a week or so since I've podcast, and I have some good progress to share in knitting, crocheting, and sewing with the current events and a lot of home isolation and just doing our part to help stop the spread of things. We are just staying home a lot, and so that makes for lots of crafting time. So I have some good stuff to show. Yeah, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having a good day, and just welcome to the podcast. I hope you enjoy hanging out with me for a bit and just chatting about what I'm making and yarn and fabric and just chatting about some fun stuff. So yes, welcome. As I mentioned, it is March and it is a rainy day here. It's just gray and gloomy, so apologies for the lighting today because it's a little bit sketchy. But yeah, it's gorgeous. I can hear the raindrops falling and I love that sound. We get a lot of snow here in the winter usually, but not as much rain. I've mentioned before I grew up in California, and so winter sounds like rain to me. I mean, the rain reminds me of what winter sounded like as a kid. So anyway, I'm enjoying that. I think I'm going to tell you about my tea and then jump into some works in progress. My dear friend Charity, hello if you're watching, I don't know if you watch, bought me this Downton Abbey tea from Republic of Tea for my birthday, and I should have brought the label, but it is the Grantham Estate blend, and it's Earl Grey with vanilla, and oh my goodness, it's so good. I don't know if I talked about it last week. I think I might have. If I'm being redundant, I'm sorry, but it's such good tea. So I'm enjoying that. And I'm really enjoying the combination of rain and tea. Always takes me home. So yes, I'm going to start with some works in progress today. I have a new work in progress. And I mentioned I bought my first yarn from A Homespun House a couple weeks ago, and I've always wanted to purchase her yarn, but it just had never worked out. Either I wasn't shopping for it or the thing that I wanted had become unavailable, and I'm not super fast at catching updates. So being home more, I was able to catch some things, and I purchased these beautiful skeins of City Lights. So I mentioned last podcast, I have one still hanging up there, but I had to cast on a pair of socks, just had to. Firstly, because I didn't have any socks on the needles, and I just really like to have different sizes of knitting available. My Whitmore sweater is on like a 4mm needle, and so I really needed something with tiny needles. So here is what I have so far. It is so beautiful. I love how this yarn is knitting up. I knit a 2x2 ribbed cuff in yarn from Dragon Hoard Yarns. I bought this from Tristan a long time ago, and it is the Petronus colorway, and I don't actually have it down here, but it's this gorgeous, very subtle blue. And I thought that would make the perfect cuff and complement to City Lights, which is just absolutely gorgeous. And I love the way that it knits up. I'm doing a plain 56 stitch vanilla sock, so just straight stockinette. I'm using 2.25 carbons needles, and I really enjoy them. Normally I use my Knit Pro Zings, are my go-to. So these are kind of fun and special for changing it up. And I have this beautiful manatee progress keeper that one of the lovely dyers put in the Dyers Swap Advent calendar that Christy from Yarn Cafe Creations had organized. I cannot remember off the top of my head which lovely dyer put in this cute little manatee. So if you happen to be watching, definitely claim your artistry and let me know if it was you. But look how cute. So cute. So this has been really fun and relaxing vanilla knitting. The last 3 pairs of socks I've knit have had texture, and I really just wanted some plain old stockinette socks. So this has been really fun to work on. I can't wait to keep going with these. He is so cute. So yeah, that is my first work in progress. First sock, I don't have a finished one yet. This is just the first of 2. And I can't show you what I'm keeping it in because that is a finished object for the sewing section. So just a teaser to keep you excited. I'm super excited about that though. And I love, 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 love this yarn. I have to just keep showing it because I just like looking at it. Anyway, that has been fun. I'm not going to make the cuff too much longer from where it's at. I'm going to start the heel, and I think I will do it in the same contrasting color. And I prefer a drop heel, heel flap and gusset. I have never done the Fish Lips Kiss heel. I kind of want to try it, but I'm so used to my drop heel flap and gusset. It's just my go-to, and I just kind of follow the same one every time. I think that the pattern that I learned how to do socks from was Hermione's Everyday Socks, and so that is the heel that I always go back to, and I believe that's still a free pattern on Ravelry. So yeah, that is WIP number 1. Work in progress number 2, I did not show this last week because there was no progress on it, but I mentioned the Dyer's Swap Advent Calendar, and I showed my minis 2 episodes ago that I really wanted to make a faded cowl with. And so I have progressed, and here is what I have. Sorry, it curls up something fierce, and I just can't seem to show it all to you. So here's what we've got so far. You can see I have gotten into the 3rd colorway by Flock Fibre, which I'm loving. This is from Malia Made It, and this is Orion Fiber Arts, and this is Flock Fibre Studios, I believe. Gorgeous yarn. I'm having so much fun with this. So since we chatted last, since I podcast last, I've made just about an inch of progress from where this little plum pudding is. So yeah, I'm really liking it. I can risk putting it on because my hair is doing its own thing anyway today. I curled it and it is just all over the place and doesn't want to obey. So I'm not worried about ruining it. But here is what it looks like so far. I'm pretty much just going around and around. I did 2x2 ribbing, and then I'm kind of just blending the colors as I go. And I did add some stitches. It's starting to go out like this a lot. I didn't do that for style as much as I did it for the ease of not having to do magic loop. So I increased just enough, lazy knitter that I am, I increased just enough so that I could just keep going around and around the circumference of the needles, which is close enough to what I wanted for a cowl anyway. So it might be a little floppy and a little droopy, but I'm not too worried about it. So yay, that's what I've got so far. This has been really good afternoon or evening knitting. My husband and I have been getting into an audio podcast of American History Tales, and we've been listening to the Prohibition era podcasts and the Cold War podcasts. And so when we listen to that in the evening, this has been what I've worked on. Yeah, it's funny. I'm becoming, I don't know what to call it, maybe a geographical knitter, in the sense that when I'm in bed in the morning and I'm having, coffee for a few minutes before I get up and do everything, I knit on the project that I keep beside my bed. And when I'm on the couch, I knit on the project I keep beside the couch. So I'm starting to just knit the things that are where I am. So I leave a couple projects in the bedroom, I leave a couple projects in the living room, and a couple projects down here. And it's kind of like wherever I am, I just pick up whatever's sitting next to me and keep knitting. So that's been kind of fun just to have some variety that way. I'm probably making slower progress on everything because I'm working on everything a little bit instead of, chipping away at one project and finishing it. But it's kind of keeping it interesting, just to have all the variety. So that's been fun. So this is my couch knitting. Yes, the next color that I'm going to put into this, I'm debating. I originally was going to do, I can't find it now. I was originally going to do the dark blue that I had dyed for the Advent swap, but I kind of am liking the purple tones in this, and I might go with this one, which I'm going to have to look up the dyer behind because I have it. I just have to find it. This one also is so pretty. And this is from Maggie, I think, from Yarnaceous Fibers, who just started a podcast, which is so fun. I watched episode 1. I don't know if they have a second one. It's Maggie and Emily from Willow Hill Yarn Company, one of my favorite yarn stores. But it's called Dinos on the Hill, I think. But they are just lovely, and if you haven't checked out their podcast, definitely do. It's really fun. And if you live in the Salt Lake area and want to shop for yarn, the Willow Hill Yarn shop, it's in this historic cabin in Gardner Village. I know Emily Clausen and Deborah from Meanwhile at the Castle podcast talk about that shop a lot, and it's so beautiful. It's in Gardner Village, so if you're in the area and you haven't checked it out, definitely do. Yeah. Anyhow, we'll see what this ends up being. We'll see what the next color ends up being, but I'm excited about it, and I like it. So, whip number 2. All right, my last knitting work in progress is my Whitmore sweater, and I have made significant progress. I have not finished the body, but last time I podcast, I had just separated for the sleeves. So I am super excited to show you what I've got once I untangle it. And it is tangled. Okay, so I love it so much. I have so much to say about this. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. And that's what I've got so far. So I will stand up and show you about how much more I have left to go before I do the ribbing. So, sorry, the lighting is really bad in here today. I am currently right at my natural waist is where I've knit to. I love this pattern so much. I am enjoying it so much. Anyway, I have about probably 3 more inches and then the ribbing. So I have my sleeves on waist yarn ready to go because I am going to jump on those right away as soon as I finish the body of this. But yes, this is a pattern by Amy of Taylor S Studios, Amy Lowden. Like I said in the past few episodes, well-written pattern, super fun to knit, and I can't wait to wear it. I had some lovely new viewers last podcast who asked me some questions about this yarn and this sweater, and I wanted to chat about them. So I believe it was Savannah who asked if the acrylic yarn that I'm using is making it lighter weight so it could be worn in the spring or the summer. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that because those thoughts were running through my mind as I got more and more of the body of this worked up. I mentioned Emily Clausen from Meanwhile at the I always say Meanwhile at the podcast. Meanwhile at the Castle. Sorry, girls. Anyway, I remember her saying that hers was very warm when done with the wool and the mohair. And so this one, I am using acrylic yarn from Hobby Lobby. I am almost done with the first cake. And so, yeah, I thought it was a little risky knitting a big pattern, big sweater, you know, knitting a garment in acrylic, because normally I knit in natural fibers, but it's expensive to keep doing that, and so I try and kind of treat myself to some expensive yarn and then work through some of my less expensive yarn and kind of just keep balanced. But I am surprised at how much I'm enjoying this. The fabric that it's making is light and breezy. So Savannah, I would say definitely this yarn is creating an airy enough sweater that I think I could wear this on, like you said, on a colder summer or spring day, especially in the evening. I mentioned I'd show kind of up close what my gauge is, and I can show you kind of that there is some, you know, transparent quality. You can kind of see my arm through that. And that is making it feel really lightweight. I tried it on when I separated for the sleeves, and it felt very light and fluffy. So I'm excited because I think this might end up being my spring and summer version, and then I might do a woolier one that is more substantial for the colder months. So yeah, so far I think it was a good call to do one of these out of this acrylic yarn. I am anxious to knit one with a natural fiber and just see what it feels like. I think it'll feel warmer and plumper and all those things. So I'm excited to try both, but I'm really pleased with how this is turning out so far. I have my beginning of row marker. It's from when I used to sell yarn on Etsy. I did a Downton Abbey, Christmas at Downton Abbey club, and this was the stitch marker that went out with the with the club, and it kind of looks like a Christmas tree on top of a snowy pearl, and I just love it. And then this shows you how much I knit in the past day, and it's a cute little cocktail charm that we got also in the Dyer Swap Advent Calendar, and it was, I think, day 2. Oh, and I can't think of the name of the dyer. If it was you, claim so and say so in the comments. But it was such a treat, and I love this one. Yeah, so Whitmore progress is happening. By next week, by next episode, I really hope to have the body done and be working on a sleeve. That would be plenty progress for me. So I will try and do that. This has been my going to bed knitting. So yeah, I'm going to try and just keep plugging away at it because I really want to wear it so much. So yeah, that is that. And those are pretty much all the knitting works in progress I have. Yes. So I'm going to switch gears and let's chat about sewing. I have so been enjoying sewing. I've been really enjoying it a lot. It's so funny. I cleaned the sewing room down here, and it's made it so much more fun to be down here. Also, the weather has been warming up. Not today because it's cold and rainy, but in general, it's been trending upwards, and so it makes it a lot more comfortable to be down here. So that's been really fun too. I haven't bought any new fabric, but I have found that I have lots of scraps, and so I have been obsessed with Erica Arndt and her channel. I think it's Confessions of a Homeschooler. So many good videos, just tutorial after tutorial of how to make this type of bag and this type of bag, and then so much more. Check her out if you're at all interested in that. She's wonderful. So I've been following her tutorials on some scrappy bags, and I showed one that I had started last week, and I'm so happy to say I finished it. So I can show you this finished object. So here it is. Yay! So these are scraps that I had from project bags. These were just fat quarters. This was from a dress fabric. then I made a dress out of, and the inside is just more scraps that I have. It's got a cute little tab handle thingy, and I got a matching zipper that kind of matches the lighter blue color. I really love this finished product. I am housing my Whitmore sweater in here, and I fold it over so that the yarn does not catch in the zipper, which is important when I work on it. So it fits a whole sweater project, and I'm really happy about that. Let me open it up for you and just show you what it looks like. This was my first time sewing with batting. I did a polyester fusible batting, and I'm not ever going to use that again because, and I know everyone has different opinions and preferences with batting, but I did not like that it turned to just particles and just went into the air when you cut it. And I'm just like, I don't want to be breathing this stuff. So I think I'm going to try cotton batting next time. I vacuumed and Swiffered my whole sewing area afterwards because it just kind of crumbled apart into little pieces. And I wasn't so wild about that. Yeah. So I will show you. This fits a good size sweater, and I could fit both other balls of yarn in here. And it's really cozy, and it's the sturdiest bag I've ever made because of that big polyester fill in the batting. And I love it. It stands up on its own, which a lot of my early project bags that I sewed myself don't do because I just used nothing or a little bit of interfacing, and that really doesn't make it stand up. Things I would do differently if I made this again, I would use cotton batting, number one. Number two, I would have done an extra quilting line in between these big squares. I quilted these really far apart, and I think it would look cute with a closer line. So I would have done that differently. I just echoed straight lines on each side of the seam for the scrappy part. And yeah, so this was her, I combined two of her tutorials to make this. Her scrappy zipper bag and her squishy project bag. So this is kind of a combo of those two videos. As far as the bag construction was the squishy project bag tutorial, and the scrappy piece I followed her instructions for just how to do that for the on the scrappy zipper one. So anyway, sewing whip number one. Super excited about it. But wait, there's more. Once I was done with that, I still had enough scraps to make another blanket. Not a blanket, that would be a lot of scraps. Sorry, enough scraps to make another bag. And so I thought I would love to knit, I would love to sew a bag that's just big enough for socks for my new socks that I cast on. And so I did. So let me put this in here so you can see what it looks like. But I'm so excited. These are some of the same fabrics, and I just did them with what I had left. So I followed her drawstring bag tutorial, and this is what I got. So I just used some pink ribbon for the drawstring, this blue fabric for the top panel, the pink for the bottom, and boxed the edges so that it does kind of sit up, and I love it. It's just a drawstring bag with pink lining, and it fits a pair of socks perfectly in it. So yay! 2 bags in 1 week. Wow, that's more sewing than I normally do in a month. So it's been really fun to have more time to do that. So I'm enjoying it. So yes, this is a smaller version of her drawstring bag tutorial. Like I said, I've been obsessed with her channel. I will write it down in the description below, but her name is Erica Arndt, A-R-N-D-T. And she's fabulous. So yay for more bags, because who doesn't need more project bags for their knitting? I don't even know. Oh, also something that she uses a lot are these Wonder Clips. instead of pinning with just normal pins. They're really great. I know quilters like them a lot because they hold multiple fabrics in place really well, and they're no joke. They're kind of easier than pins, especially for small projects or quilty projects and making bags. They're just really, really handy. So if you are into making project bags, I would suggest this because you really only need 1 or 2 of them per side of a short edge that you're sewing. And they're really, really helpful. So I'm a fan of Clover Wonder Clips. So yeah. I do have some crocheting progress now to turn to. I mentioned last week that I copied Katie of Inside Number 23, she's just wonderful. And I am copying her, and I am doing Sandra Paul's Battenberg Blanket. And so I have got some more squares, and I'm so happy about it. So they're so cute. And I love how the white separates them because it really does let each indie dyed yarn have its own moment. So I'm a huge fan. These are all, I think these are almost all Advent swaps from this Christmas that I've talked about. But yeah, I'm so excited. I'm really enjoying the join as you go technique that she has in the bag. In the blanket pattern. It's super easy, and it does create a little bit of a ridge around, but I don't mind. I thought I would, and I don't. So it's just as soft. It's not annoying, or it's not, I thought it would be kind of bumpy, and it's really, really not. It's very nice. So yay! So that's my Battenberg blanket so far. It's just big enough to be, I Love Lucy 1950s hat. She had some fun crocheted hats I noticed as I've been watching those recently. But anyway, it's tiny, but it's growing. Last week I only had these 4, and so this week I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So hey, progress. Yeah. That has been fun. Here's the white yarn that I'm using, and here are some of the minis that are yet to be turned into Battenberg squares. So that should be fun. Yes. So those are pretty much all the yarny projects that I'm up to right now. You can see right here I've got my granny stripe blanket with a lot of the same yarn in it. I am going to keep going with this, but I think once I've got what's left of those minis, I'm thinking of as I finish squares for the Battenberg blanket, starting just an ongoing magic knot ball of what's left of them, and then that can go into my blanket, my crochet stripe one. So yeah. Also, I mentioned Willow Hill yarn. I keep saying it wrong. Willow Hill yarn store, yarn company. Oh my goodness, I'll put it right. Emily, I promise I'll put it right in the description box. Anyway, I went there a while ago because I was looking around for some things, and I just love browsing through her store. And I shared my Soldotna with you a couple episodes ago, and I was thinking about making the sleeves longer. And now, so I bought more of what I would need to do that. So this is not what I knit that in, but it's exactly the yardage I would need in the same weight and color. Simplicity by Haiku. And this is interesting. This is 55% merino superwash and 28% acrylic and 17% nylon. So it's a nice blend. It's really round and soft, and she has a lot of good colors there too in this yarn. I also have a navy blue that I bought there before. I don't know. I originally wanted to lengthen my Soldotna sleeves, and now I'm thinking I might not do that. Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady just put out a beautiful cowl pattern for DK Weight called Desert Diamonds, and I was thinking these might be really perfect for that. So I don't know yet. I'm not sure, but that could be something that happens with these guys. Anyway, So that's fun to think about. And I should mention, this is a tea tray that I had upstairs and wasn't ever going to use because I rarely host teas. I used to. Me and my mom and my grandma would. But yeah, I thought, wait a minute, this would be a fun way to display yarn and my minis. And so I've got a bowl here with some mini skeins and scraps, and it's been a fun way to change up the space down here. I like to keep changing it. I got a new little succulent a couple weeks ago, and it's just fun to keep changing it up. So yes, that is all my yarn content for you. I do want to share some just acquisitions / favorite things / chatter at the end here. I mentioned last week that I got to see some of my dearest girlfriends from, oops, sorry, I hit the camera, from college, and a couple of us had birthdays, and so I received that lovely tea from my friend Charity, and she also got all the girls this soap making kit, and I just wanted to show it because it's so cute, and it's got all the things in it to make 12 customs. It has 12 different molds. It has different soap bases, 3 colors of dye, and then gift boxes in it. So you can make soap from scratch. So I thought this would be a fun thing to try this week, because just to, keep the variety coming. Since I've been doing so much knitting and crocheting, I thought it would be fun to break these out. But it's just fun to try new things. So handcrafted soap making might be in my future, which is kind of cool. And then another dear friend from college at the same get together got me a beautiful scarf, and I didn't bring it downstairs. Hopefully, maybe I'll wear it on the next podcast. But my dear friend and used to be roommate in college, Leslie, got me this cool knitting book, and I love it. It's a knitting diary, a personal handbook, and I'm super excited about it because it has different sections. It has a zippered pouch where you could keep notions if you wanted to. It has favorite patterns. So it's kind of like a paper version of your Ravelry page of what projects you're doing and what yarn you used for them. So that if you're like me and 2 years later you pick up a project and you want to add sleeves to it, you can look up and see, oh, I use this yarn, I can get more of that. But there would be many reasons to do that, not just that reason. But anyway, then there's a section with grid paper so that you can chart your own design, color work, or just taking notes if you want, or like lace work. So that's super cool. I'm looking forward to playing around with that. And then this is so helpful. It has a reference section in the back, which is really, really, really nice. It has all the common knitting abbreviations, which is helpful. It has a couple patterns for just a simple rolled brim hat. It has, I've never seen this before, but estimating yarn requirement charts. So it shows you if you want to make a sweater for a baby, newborn to 12 months, you'll probably need, in DK, you'll probably need 300 to 400 yards, or worsted 250 to 330 yards. So it's kind of fun, because if you don't maybe know what pattern yet you want to do for something, or you're trying to see if you have enough to do a small sweater or a hat, it's super nice to be able to just look at this chart and kind of ballpark it. So you can kind of see, it gives you the size and how much yarn you would need to do that project in general. It also has standard body measurements and sizes, and yeah, it's just got a lot of cool stuff. But the coolest thing that I wanted to share is that at the back, I have never had one of these before, so thank you, Leslie. It has a knitting needle gauge and ruler. This is so helpful because if your needles have, if the size that's written on them has been worn off, you can see which size it is. That's helpful. Our extra ruler is always helpful. And this, I have never had a gauge swatch ruler like this, because it's so much easier to place this on your knitting and just count across and count up than trying to just hold a ruler and then count stitches and put your fingers on both sides so that you're not counting extra. Anyway, I'm so excited to have this. So thank you, Leslie. This is an awesome gift, and I'm definitely using it already. So that has been fun. So if you're interested in getting something like this, I will put the information for the ISBN so you could order one if you wanted. But yeah, a knitting journal with all the reference goodies in it. Thank you so much. And then last but not least, I wanted to share what my March bullet journal looks like. I don't think I shared this last week. My main person that I follow for this is AmandaRachLee, and she does awesome journaling and tutorials. And so I copied her or followed or recreated her March, I think 2017 tutorial. So it's all about little cacti. And aren't those cute? So a fun little quote, the best is yet to come, and some beautiful little cacti. And it's been really fun. So I've got, you can see it's got like more cacti on the side of the calendar. The mood tracker is super cute because it's just 31 cacti, excuse me. And I got like a March thoughts page, and then just my weekly planning pages are really fun with a cactus on each one. So I thought I'd share that. Like I said, I really enjoy this, and especially in the current times that we're in with so many different things kind of preying on our minds and different things to be thinking of and concerned about. It's so helpful to consistently write down my prayers, write down my things that I'm grateful for every day, and really I've been trying to be very disciplined about that and really start my day with focusing on those things and not letting myself just be pulled around by news headlines and new statistics and numbers and scary things, but to really focus on what I believe and what I'm grateful for, and that's been a huge blessing. And this format has really helped me to own that in a fun way. So yeah, I would definitely encourage checking out AmandaRachLee. As I've mentioned before, she makes it really doable and accessible. So for beginners like me, it was easy to jump in just to have somebody to follow like that. So yeah. Anyway, I am probably going to sign off. I'm going to go make a pot of decaf coffee and have a cookie or two, and maybe work on my next couple squares for my Battenberg blanket. And I think I'm going to just relax and enjoy the sound of the rain. I hope you have a fabulous week. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And yeah, I'll see you soon. All the best. Bye.